Good evening, folks. Welcome back to week 4 of Overlord Prowler's Round Robin, pitting 6 teams against each other in a round robin tournament that will eventually determine the top 2 who will duke it out in a best of 5 finals down the road. I am Jeff, joined by Gregorsaurus Rex. We are here for 3 matches on this beautiful Sunday evening. Greg, how you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Looking forward to seeing how these teams stack up. There's a big old pile up in the top of the standings, so we're looking to see if we can't get some differentiation there.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 2 teams that are both sitting at 2-1 facing off here in our opening match, Northern Storm against Gale Force. We've got 4 teams total, all sitting at 2-1. And as I just mentioned, only the top 2 will be able to make that finals at the end. So this match is critical because one of these teams can really get their nose in front for one of those top 2 spots at the end. So I think we're about to get into our first match here. Any particular thoughts on this matchup as we come into it?
Ban Zoe. That's my big thought here. Obviously, Green is a monster. He's shown that multiple times. That is something that will need to be managed and maintained. Perhaps this is the one we finally get to see the Kiana they keep banning. These bans are
Yeah,
coming
it's
out
funny.
quick.
We see the Vex ban right away. That's what we saw Green on last week, which looked very, very impressive as well. But as you mentioned, the Zoe coming out the first 2 weeks for this player who is new to the GMA landscape this time around here in summer 2022, but has obviously looked very impressive living up to that diamond ranking that he's brought into this tournament. Morgana and Olaf aimed at Godzilla, I assume. He's looked very potent on that champion recently. And is Shaken gonna get his Zac again? He does. Has Shaken played anything but Zac? I don't think so
He has
far this
not, and he
summer.
hasn't had to. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And his Zac has been top tier this entire tournament, so why not do it again?
And also a Nocturne ban coming out aimed at J-Dog, who played that, I believe, last week to some very, very impressive effect. And Seraphine, which is a flex pick, actually, I believe, for Northern Storm. We can see Goonstomp or Sigtal Ward on that. And so, understandable that Gale Force would want to get rid of that early.
Absolutely true. I'm seeing the Wukong over there. That concerns me a little bit for for the sides of Northern Storm. We've seen that Wukong be very, very effective. It is interesting to note, however, that Sladen versus Shaken, it was always going to be a Zac pickoff. Whoever gets it first. The two of them love it so much. And
Sure.
Shaken, obviously, being on that side of the map, he's going to get the first pick on it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that with Sladen. You mentioned the Wukong on Godzilla. That's arguably his best champion. And we saw the Olaf ban, but they've elected to allow him to have that Wukong. So we'll see if they come back to rue that decision. J-Dog picking up the Hecarim in the jungle. Very strong champion right
Ooh.
now. And Leona picked up. Not really much mystery there. Leona has never really been able to be flexed as far as I'm aware of, except maybe in some very niche situations. So that'll be going down to Sigtal Ward, one of his favorite champions down there in the support role.
Yeah, it makes sense. The Morgana ban, especially with the Leona being picked, makes a lot of sense. Morgana can really shut down that engage and prevent you from getting the lockdown. There's the Zoe.
There's the Zoe.
So that's scary. Leona, I think, is a good choice into something like a Zoe, to be honest. You need something that is a point click CC to stop her from being as obnoxious as she is. Leona's a very good way to do that.
And you can also sort of buffer that Solar Flare or the Zenith Blade
Yeah,
when you know
absolutely.
that the Zoe is going to be going back to that alt spot.
Right. It works great in theory, on paper. Let's see how it goes in practice. There's a Victor ban coming across, so they do not want Gunstomp to be bringing that out. And it looks
Luck's
like the
taken away,
Lux.
so they don't want Alpha on those snare skill shot champions down in their bot lane, and they take away the Zerath as well, which I believe is another one of his favorites
Interesting,
from the
there's
Heritage.
no AD carry bans on either side.
Yeah, that is interesting.
That surprises me in particular that Gale Force wouldn't put a ban into an AD carry or two against Northern Storm just because Brandanosaur is so dominant on various champions. Maybe it's just too big of a pool to ban out.
Yeah, that's what I would think at this point. When you've only got 2 bans left, a player like Brandana, you're not gonna be able to, I don't think, affect that heavily. Ezreal picked up. I like that pick when you don't know the opposing AD carry yet. Ezreal's such a safe champion.
That's true. It also is a very good get out of jail free card if Leona does decide to try to murder you.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of poke potential between Green and Burn the Heretic on these two champions. Brandana going with that Jinx. So we saw Brandana hyper carry last week on Tristana. In the past, I thought Northern Storm they might be putting too many eggs in the 80 carry basket, but it worked last week. And they've got a huge front line to protect the Jinx and then Syndra to round things out. So solid amount of damage. How does the Syndra Zoe matchup go in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's a very skill based matchup. The Zoe, in particular, it's really going to come down for the Cinder being able to dodge the sleep trouble bubble, and for the Zoe to not go for the sort of the jump forward on the ultimate when you know that the Cinder has the stun up. Because similar to how the Leona can buffer right onto the returning location for Zoe, Cinder can do the exact same thing. So
Sure.
it's really just whoever fires first, you better not miss.
There's a lot of little tricks here actually for the Northern Storm comp. I mean, you can even put the chompers down from Jinx, where you know Zoe's going to be going back to. So Green's going to have to be careful with where he starts that ultimate, that little portal jump from. Karma was picked up for Alpha at the end here. Seems like the kind of champion that he enjoys playing. And so you've really got this very mobile, very I don't know, difficult to lock down backline for the side of Gale Force.
Yeah, Gale Force's team comp is. At first, I didn't care for it. I didn't really see like. I like to preach this a lot. You know, I'm not a big fan of comps that where their entire engage is let's run at you really fast. However, with a Karma, with a Wukong, with a Zoe potentially putting someone to sleep, this actually could work pretty well. If they run at you, they will run at you very, very quickly. And interestingly, the team of Northern Storm doesn't have a lot of disengage, but they sure as hell have a lot of engage, so this could be a very, very explosive matchup.
Yeah, we could see a lot of people picking fights here. I agree with you that, just the karma makes the potential for Gale Force's comp work, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You still could have had Godzilla on some flanks, I guess, with that Cyclone. But yeah, between the Trundle already having his own speed up and then the Karma on top of that, it can be tough to get away. One thing I'm curious about that I'm not actually sure how it works is if the Trundle Pillar works as terrain for the Sleepy Trouble Bubble.
I think it does. Um, well, okay, so I'm not gonna proclaim to be a Trundle expert, but can you, for example, Poppy stun someone into the Trundle pillar?
Yes.
Then I would imagine it would count
Yeah.
as terrain.
Yeah, it must be coded that way. Well, I don't know. Let's not put too much faith in Riot's coding here, but
Right.
if it's consistent, yeah, that would absolutely make sense. So not that that's I don't know if that's the kind of thing that they'll actually intentionally try to pull off, but it could become consequential at some point.
Potentially. It does look like King Potato has confirmed it is indeed terrain. Oh, never mind. He's not convinced either. So between the three of us, we're pretty sure maybe.
Love it, love it. All right. So I guess we talked a lot about the Gale Force comp already. Seems like the Northern Storm comp is much more straightforward. You've got the two pure tanks, and then Hecarim, who's sort of a tank,
Mm-hmm.
and then the two backline carries. So overall, I guess between these two comps, who do you like better? Who do you think's going to take this one?
Well, you know how I feel about ease of execution. We've talked about that a billion times over. The ease of execution is 100% more simple for Northern Storm here. It's just one of the people who can engage a fight engages the fight, and then they go. That could be either a pick off of a Syndra stun, that could be a charging in from a Hecarim. Obviously, Zac and Leona have plenty of ways to start a fight. I think their team fight is probably more potent. That said, the pick potential on Gale Force's side is much, much higher, so it's really going to come down to execution. My money is going to go to Northern Storm here, but it is not a convincing, definitely going to be this way, in my opinion. It's going to be a very big toss up.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Northern Storm's comp is simpler.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, even if you mentioned they don't really have that much disengage, at least not in the traditional sense, no Janna, no Nami, things
Right.
like that. But there's so much CC that, there's still of peel if Brandan ends up needing that. You can just allocate Leona to Peel instead of engaging. And I think that the Jinx will be able to kite back in a fight just fine, and you still have plenty of CC to dive the back line with your other members. So I think it can work multiple ways. It doesn't have to be just a run at you comp. But I think that if Northern Storm falls behind early, they're going to be in trouble because you don't want to be at a vision disadvantage against a team with a Zoe like Green or with the mobility that Gale Force has.
So you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, the whole concept of Leona's great if you're ahead, and if you're behind, it can be a bit challenging to make it work. That's kind of the way their entire team comp is. So if they're ahead, great. They will be scary to deal with. But if they do fall behind, like you said, might be an uphill climb. As far as skins go, I guess we have to give it to the team that has more skins.
My loading screen's already over, but now I'm just chilling with a black screen. Not sure if you are as well.
No, I'm on a loading screen at 0%, so that's interesting.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Okay, it flickered, and now it's still at 0%. Riot, please. And we're suddenly and aggressively in the game with a black screen.
All right, nice. Well, at least we're in the same place. Oh. All right, what worked for me is just clicking along the time bar at the bottom and just dragging that out as far as I could.
There we go. That was very strange.
All
Sorry
right.
about that, folks.
Alright, so you're as current as we can be?
I am as current as we can be. It looks like 50 seconds, 51, thereabouts.
Yep. Alright, cool. Alright, and it looks like we missed nothing because nobody ever does any invade things and everyone just wants me to be sad every Sunday night, so that's rude. Please stop it. Both junglers looking to start their blue buffs, it looks like. Their respective blue buffs, so they will be split between top side and bot side on where they are. Although I'm not that familiar with Hecarim's current jungle path, so maybe he does some weird things.
Yeah, it does look like J-Dog is running the Ghost on the Hecarim as well, so he will be ponying in at a very quick velocity.
Very speedy indeed. Goonstomp on this Syndra is a little interesting to me because I feel like so far this split, I know he has a very wide champion pool, but so far this split, I feel like we've seen him mostly on more supportive type champions. So seeing him on something like Syndra is kind of cool to me.
That is a really cool point. It's interesting that for me, especially for Goonstomp, watching him, having played... first I played against him and now having watched him this split, it's interesting to see that for him to be doing something abnormal, in quotes, is playing a somewhat normal mid laner.
Sure. Gets a stun, but the Trouble Bubble lands as well from Green. Able to steer that Paddle Star around to land it. Health bar is relatively even in the mid lane. Green with a slight advantage on the mana bar. Both players actually running the Ignite. Shaken, getting taken pretty low up here by Godzilla. Yeah, had a level disadvantage. I don't know if Godzilla's going to be able to kill the Bloblets before the revive comes through. But even if not, actually he will. Wow, Godzilla with a solo kill. So Shaken, we've seen him win some of those 1v1s with the Zac in the last couple weeks, but that time Godzilla knew exactly what he was doing. Got the level advantage, that early level 2, and then enough cooldowns to finish off the Bloblets at the end. That's a huge win to get that passive and the kill.
It is. I will say this, though, as we watch the Trouble Bubble miss there, otherwise we might have been dealing with another kill.
Yeah, that was a little surprising from Green.
He was probably anticipating the juke, but there was no juke. I think that top fight, even though it looked like Godzilla had things completely under control, if he didn't get that last auto off and Zac becomes alive again, suddenly that fight is most likely going in Zac's favor.
Yeah, Godzilla got taken very low by having minion aggro the whole time he was hitting those Bloblets. And Shaken had to use his teleport as well, so gonna be down that. J-Dog's hovering around the bot side, level 4 already. And he's coming in. They do see him, though, and so he will just pull off, head up for that Scuttle Crab. Sladen has already secured the top side Scuttle, and Green just barely misses on... Oh, but he lands the Trouble Bubble, and Goonstomp is going to have to flash back to his tower.
I don't think
Shaken
that.
and Godzilla brawling again. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I don't think that that flash was entirely necessary. You know that the paddle star was just used. It was probably more of a not 100% sure of the timing on that Q coming off of cooldown. Better safe than sorry type of a flash.
Yeah, and still had the Ignite available, did Green, so that's always a little worrisome. Green taken pretty low. Goon Stomp as well. And Godzilla was actually beat up a little bit up in that top lane, as Shaken had a slight level advantage for a little while there. Ooh, a lot of damage onto Brandanosaur. And Sigtai Lord anticipating aggression from Burn the Heretic, throws out the Zenith Blade, but nothing to be found there.
Yeah, that looked like a miss on the Zenith Blade, but in fact, it was a zoning Zenith Blade. If he didn't do that and he did push forward, that could have been very, very bad for Brandanosaur.
At the same time, if Burn the Heretic had gotten hit by that Zenith Blade, he might have actually been the one to go down. Green has picked up a Ghost and lands the Trouble Bubble, and this is going to be a dead Goon Stomp, I think. There's the Ignite, and Green might tick down. No, I think Green's going to be just fine. He got a Cleanse, I believe, so he was able to get out from under the Ignite of Goon Stomp. Solo kill in the mid lane. And so we've got 2 solo kills by the solo laners of Gale Force so far. Very impressive stuff.
Yeah, they're off to the races, and I will say that if Goon Stomp had the flash there, he probably could have outplayed that and actually gotten that kill. That said, you know, it is what it is. The flash was already used, so Green picks up a freebie, so to speak.
So right now, CS, Brandanosaur has a pretty nice lead down in the bot lane over Burn the Heretic. J-Dog has a couple camps ahead of Sladen as well. So that pretty much has bridged the gap from those 2 kills that the solo laners have picked up. So gold advantages in different places across the map. Shaken and Godzilla still brawling up in the top side. Shaken's got to be a little bit careful, as he still does not have his passive for another 90 seconds. Ping's coming down in the bot lane as they're expecting Goon Stomp to roam down there.
The Shaken can be a little bit reckless here as a Zac. Until Wukong hits level 6, he doesn't have a way to stop you from slingshotting.
Yeah, and Shaken is level 6 now, actually, so if he puts out the Let's Bounce, Godzilla has used the clone already and has to flash away. Shaken very close to getting under turret there, but Godzilla has no mana, so Shaken doesn't have to be very afraid right now.
I wonder...
Coming out from Sladen, I think he's going to look to come up here and at least defend Godzilla from a potential dive. No, he's actually going back towards the mid lane, and Godzilla feels safe enough that he will be able to get this wave. He does have level 6 now, which certainly helps, and does teleport. J-Dog down in the bot lane again, and Burn the Heretic and Alpha could be in trouble. They're pretty far up in this lane. Sigtai Lord is pretty far behind the play, though, and I don't think he'll be able to get up close enough for Leona to land anything. Actually, Alpha, good job pulling off at the right moment there. J-Dog has level 6, though.
He did get the flash out of it.
Sladen in the mid lane. Excuse me, Shaken in the mid lane. Goon Stomp able to... hasn't thrown out the stun yet, actually. Now he throws out the ultimate, but it's not quite enough damage. Lands the W. One more Q, and he should be able to get him with one more auto attack here. Good gank, good roam from Shaken there, and Goon Stomp gets a revenge kill after that early death.
I cannot say enough. First of all, that was very, very well roamed by Shaken. I do not think that Green saw that coming, but big props to Goon Stomp for following through on that. It did not look like he was going to be able to pull that off, but he got it done. He got those last auto attacks in. Otherwise, I don't think that happens.
Yeah, that the stun must have been on cooldown right before we started watching the play, because I never saw that get thrown out, but was able to land pretty much everything else. J-Dog could be in trouble here. He does have his ultimate available, has already popped Ghost. Oh, he ults basically in place, though, so I don't think that's really going to get him out. Yeah, a little too aggressive there. Good roam by the bot lane of Gale Force, but now Green right back onto Goon Stomp. Ignite comes out, and Goon Stomp just stuck around a little too long there after that earlier kill.
Yeah, I know the greed, especially as a former mid laner, the desire to just push that to tower and get a nice, comfortable reset, but sometimes it's better to, you know, live.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen somebody come help Goon Stomp push that wave, because after the kill on Green, he was completely There was really no way for him to get that wave in fast enough.
Syndra not well known for her wave pushing on auto attacks alone.
Sladen able to sneak in and take that blue buff away from J-Dog. So J-Dog, who originally stole the blue, unfortunately ended up dying for it, and Sladen gets one back. And goes down, or excuse me, that was Godzilla who stole that blue buff. Sladen was down on the bot side getting a Drake. So a couple things in a row going in favor of Gale Force.
Yeah, they seem to be doing pretty well in every lane. The only where the place that there's a bit of a disparity, and actually I don't even know if it is a disparity gold-wise. Probably isn't. Oh, hold on. That looks like a fight to me.
Yeah, I'm lagging, sorry. But Alpha, looks like Alpha goes down. Brandanasaur able to pick up. You were just talking about that bot lane advantage, so a nice job. Oh, man, Brandanasaur able to snipe, outburn the Heretic. Burn the Heretic stopped moving for a second to fire off his own ultimate, and Brandanasaur took advantage. Found him with the Mega Death Rocket. Green is down here, gets the Ignite down onto Brandanasaur. He might have to pop his heal, he does, but he's going to be just fine now.
Syndra did expend ult in the middle there as well to get Trundle off that tower.
And you were just talking about that bot lane advantage that has been accrued for Brandanasaur and Sigtal Lord. We see it at work there with a really, really big play to keep Northern Storm in this game. Godzilla going in with the Cyclone. First time we've seen that ultimate used. There's the second usage. And Shaken tries to flash back to his turret. Godzilla, though, he's not going to be in turret range, so he will be able to slap down these Bloblets. Another solo kill for this Wukong.
Yeah, Eternal called it out in chat. They are going to regret letting that Wukong through for Godzilla. So far, it's looking that is true. He's very, very good at the Monkey Man.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I know he has been impressive on the Olaf recently, but it seems, you know, maybe a little bit of recency bias there, because as far as I remember, Godzilla's been banned against Godzilla Wukong has been banned against Godzilla for pretty much the entire time he's been a part of the GMA scene, so
yeah,
definitely something.
It's the signature champion. No, it's a signature champion for him, right? Like every single player in the GMA has a signature champion, if you ask me. Some have several, and I think that Godzilla's is Wukong, and to let that through is just it's a reckless choice, perhaps. Perhaps they thought they had the chicken in the bag, or perhaps they thought that Shaken was going to be able to handle it since he's been so dominant on Zac in the past. But looks like he's got the number this time.
Shot barrage used by Burn the Heretic just for a little bit of poke. Brandanasaur sitting down at about half health. Sigtal Lord, though, does. Oh, Solar Flare comes out. Ooh. Maybe prediction there, but actually does find him with the Zenith Blade. Here comes J-Dog with the ultimate. Burn the Heretic is taken really low. Cannot fight this one out by himself. Alpha just has to walk away. Another kill in the bot lane for Northern Storm.
Yep, well executed. The Solar Flare looked a little peculiar, but in actuality, that did buy them enough time for J-Dog to get in there and actually make that gank work, so.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, he threw the Solar Flare one way, just sort of. Actually, they've caught onto Green in the mid lane as well. This Zoe could be in trouble. There's the ultimate from Cinder. Not quite enough damage yet. Ignite comes out onto Shaken. Oh, flash forward from Goonstomp. Green able to portal jump away. He's still alive. Goonstomp can't get one more auto down or one more Q. Mega Death Rocket flies by, but Green able to get away from it. And now Goonstomp is going to go down. Green comes back into the play at the end, finds him with the Paddle Star. Excellent job by Sladen to get there. Godzilla has actually roamed down as well. He's looking for Shaken. Flashes in. There's the Q and the Cyclone. Another kill for the Wukong.
That feels bad. That feels really, really bad for Northern Storm in pretty much every different facet. I mean, the sped up Wukong is problematic enough, right? The fact that you weren't able to get that last auto attack onto Green. The cooldowns just must have been desynced slightly. You couldn't throw the Q where it was going to return to. It's just that's what you call unlucky, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't throw the Q, and then, you know, it's just he comes back to the portal jump origin spot, but by then you've got a Sladen whacking on you, and it's just like, it's so difficult to process that situation. I know it sounds simple, just right-click the Zoe, but in that moment when there's a lot of different moving parts happening at the same time, I can understand how.
Ooh, good.
You know, yeah. We saw Goonstomp throw out a last scatter the weak at the end. Actually, Shaken with a nice job catching Godzilla under tower up there in the top lane. Gets a big shutdown kill for himself.
That was a really good jump. He slingshotted into where he predicted the Wukong would shift to and nailed it.
And this might be a mid lane turret dropping in the mid lane. They've used the Rift Herald. Some damage could come down onto J-Dog, but Green can't kill him from that health at this point. So, nice job by Northern Storm fighting right back after that disappointing play. Getting that shutdown onto Shaken, getting the turret in the mid lane, and all of a sudden they've got a pretty sizable gold lead as they head towards the dragon.
Yeah, we thought this might be a scrappy one, and so far it's shaken up to be that way. Especially after the last sequence of events, I thought that Gale Force was in a really good spot, but
Here comes Sladen. He might look for the steal. It's down. Oh, so close. Nice smite from J-Dog. And he goes right back in with the onslaught of shadows. Sladen is just trying to tank up in the mid lane, or excuse me, in the middle of the fight. Goonstomp taken down right away. J-Dog also melts, but Godzilla, they can't get onto Brandana in the backline. Sigtalor just trying to do his best to kite it out. He does stun up Green. Will it be enough? No, not quite. Green is still alive. Sigtalor able to kill him, but now he's one-on-one with this Ezreal. How OP is support? How underpowered is AD carry? I don't think it'll be enough. They're all just standing there. Gentleman's duel. Shaken will take down the top lane turret, but still, the Drake went over to Northern Storm. So overall, I think that they'll actually take that trade. They go down 1 kill, but they get the Drake and a tower.
that was a very, very well played fight on both sides. Brandanasaur got to do a lot of free firing in the back. Almost survived. I don't know if the ult at point blank range was the play, but it was probably the only thing he could do to get the damage off before he died. I was a huge fan of Sigtalor and Burn the Heretic. No orb walking, no mechanics. We're just gonna stand here and we're gonna beat the crap out of each other.
Right click AFK.
Oh my gosh.
It's you one.
American Gladiators.
J-Dog, though, a really nice secure on that Drake, as Sladen did get into the pit at the right moment, but just wasn't able to quite get the smite off at the perfect time. And J-Dog has actually accrued about a 20 CS lead now across that jungle role. Not that surprising. I mean, Hecarim does farm extremely well in the jungle, but that is a gold advantage going the way of Northern Storm, and the overall gold advantage, about 2,500, is about the same as it was before that fight popped off.
And I think that fight actually was particularly telling, that if they can keep Brandana alive, if Green can't burst Brandana, this is going to be basically a shootout. He can put out so much damage, and you're not going to get a better CC bot than Leona.
Yeah, and it also has to be stated that Shaken wasn't even there for that fight. And so if you have another meat shield there, just sort of standing between the Zoe and the Jinx, it becomes that much more difficult for Green to bother that hyper carry just firing away from the backline. Sladen was just standing on a ward, so Northern Storm will be aware of his positioning. Green roaming down. This could end up being an explosive situation here in the bottom side river. Goonstomp able to land the stun, but he actually knocks Alpha out of J-Dog's ultimate. They do take down Alpha, but this might be something they regret. Goonstomp flashes right over into Burn the Heretic's waiting arms. Godzilla's come down with the teleport, and Brandana could be in trouble. Nice ult from Sigtalor will help Brandana take down Burn the Heretic, but now I don't know what they have left. Brandanasaur is eventually going to melt. Shaken is still not able to join these fights. I think the teleport is about to come up. I'm not sure if it was available earlier, but it ends up being a 4-for-3 in favor of Gale Force.
Really well played by Sigtalor to keep that fight going as long as it did. Gale Force, with the numbers advantage, that did eventually put down the the machine gun that is Brandanasaur. And like you said, Shaken just couldn't get down there for that. If he had, that fight may have gone completely differently.
So taking stock of things right now, the gold lead has been sitting at about 2,500 for maybe 5 minutes now. We're seeing Brandanasaur start to get very strong on this Jinx. We're seeing Green start to get very strong on this Zoe. Also worth noting that Sladen is 4-1-5 on this Trundle.
Yeah, the bulk of the money for Northern Storm is on the Jinx, and to some extent on the Leona as well, which is great as far as, you know, the money's on the carry. However, it is a relatively immobile, unless she's very fast, AD carry. And with a Wukong, it's going to be difficult to keep away. Although, the kiting has been pretty immaculate thus far.
We will have a Mountain Soul in this game, so the tanks will become even tankier. I do think that Mountain Soul slightly favors, or would be even more advantageous for Northern Storm compared to Gale Force. They just have so many tanks, but also just even that little bit of extra durability on somebody like a Jinx I feel like could be the difference when you're dealing with a champion like Zoe. Shaken could be caught here in the bot side. There's a lot of players down in this area. We've actually got 5 from Northern Storm for the first time in a while. J-Dog jumps in. They're still under turret. There's still a turret there, and J-Dog has gone too deep. He is going to drop for free. Green picks up the kill, and now Godzilla jumps right back in. Solar Flare will be able to get a slow, not quite a stun, but Godzilla drops eventually, and now Brandanosaur is excited. Alpha trying to zone him up on the side, but Slayton is going to drop as well. They don't really have enough to get onto Brandanosaur right now. He's stepped pretty far forward there, but he's just fine. Nice scatter of the week from Goon Stomp. Mega Death Rocket comes out, not quite enough to take anyone down. Shaken, I believe he does have his passive available right now, so he can be brave. Brandanosaur's pretty low on mana, so he's not going to be able to fire out the rockets infinitely like he might like. Trouble Bubble comes out, doesn't land onto anyone though. It's a 4-on-3 on the map right now. Oh, Sigtal Lord finds Green with the Zenith Blade. They jump in. Green has to flash away. That's his actual flash. That's not one he picked up. Shaken taken very low. Brandanosaur is asleep though, and this is going to be trouble for the Jinx. Burn the Heretic gets him. Now can everybody else on Northern Storm clean this fight up? They will get Burn the Heretic, and Green is all alone. Slayton is actually revived, as has Godzilla. This fight has gone on for so long, they will eventually get down the Zoe as well. So nice job by Goon Stomp, Shaken, and Sigtal Lord cleaning up the back end of that fight. But now it's gone on for so long that Slayton is going to be able to come back in. He has his flash available, and we could have some steal potential. Goon Stomp should have enough mana for one combo to keep him out. Will they just turn back on? Yeah, Shaken is just going to try to keep Slayton out of the picture as the other 3 members take down this Drake. Should be able to get it done. Godzilla running towards Slayton to defend him, but Shaken will just back off. So after all of that, we will have the Mountain Drake going over to the side of Northern Storm.
So this has been quite the bloody game. The 17 kills apiece on each team, and it's only been 20 minutes and 30 seconds or thereabouts. The fight itself was very, very all over the place. J-Dog, perhaps a little bit too bold, diving in when that turret was still alive, like you called. Ended up costing him his life. However, that ease of execution we talked about, the Northern Storm team comp was able to make good on all of the skills that they needed to turn that fight around, even after the over push and overextension. The Zenith Blade off of Sigtal Lord to go to where the Zoe was supposed to be returning to and nailed it. Without that happening, I don't know if that fight goes off as well as it did. Very, very well executed.
Yeah, it was actually interesting. It was sort of the opposite interaction from what I expected, where Sigtal Lord threw out that Zenith Blade, caught the Zoe right before she returned to the portal jump, and ended up following her.
Yeah, I guess it's all about the timing.
I saw Godzilla as well. You know, we sort of saw 2 tanks overreaching a bit in that fight, because Godzilla went in, got a solid Cyclone down, but the rest of the team was just too far behind, and he was just CC'd up and killed before anyone else could really threaten Brandanosaur or Goon Stomp in the backline. Shaken and Godzilla just brawling it out, but Alpha's here to lend some support.
So Godzilla needs to be careful with his little clone. The stretching strike that Zac can do can absolutely run Wukong into himself, which would be really funny to see. Hasn't happened yet, not that I've seen anyhow, but the potential's there.
Yeah, that is a good point, because I do feel like we've seen a couple times in previous weeks where a Zac has gotten the first part of the stretching strike on his own, but then there's nothing else to attach it to, so you can't pull him back. But Wukong provides that second target himself. Obviously the clone very advantageous and useful in other ways, though. Goon Stomp has actually gone for the Banshee's Veil very early on here, so a pretty defensive build. J-Dog and Brandanosaur are on the Baron, but they know they're in vision, so I'm a little bit surprised. Yeah, J-Dog could be in a lot of trouble here. Has to use the Onslaught of Shadows just to get away after that Trouble Bubble landed onto him. He will have some Honey Fruit to regen a little bit of his health. Got some more there as well, but seemed a little reckless for them to continue that Baron after they knew they were seen.
Yeah, I don't agree with that call. Clear out the vision, sure. Maybe see if you can trick them into stepping a little bit too far forward, because, for example, with Zac sneaking around the back, maybe they could have potentially picked somebody off, but to take that much damage and then be put to sleep, if he doesn't ult there, he's dead 100%.
Goon Stomp misses to scatter the weak. Zap doesn't land as well. And interestingly, J-Dog is actually very close to having the highest CS in the game right now. So this Hecarim, despite only being 2-4-5, is very, very potent, very powerful. If he can get into the backline in the right circumstances, could be trouble. And Shaken now is going to get caught out by Green. They just continue to try to clear out this vision. Green misses the paddle star, though. Just miscalculated the timing on his Trouble Bubble sleep, I think. But Shaken taken pretty low as well. So we're seeing Northern Storm. They really want to threaten this Baron, but for every pink ward they clear out, they're losing a health bar.
I think they recognize that they have the better team fight comp in a full, front-to-back 5v5, which is probably why they're trying to force it. However, that doesn't work if you get poked out, which thus far they have been. I do think it's
Scatter
interesting.
The Weak was very close to landing on to burn the Heretic.
Goonstomp going a very early Banshee's Veil as well is interesting to me, along with CDR boots, which is not what I would have expected. So despite
CDR boots?
Yeah. Despite the fact that he is playing a more conventional mid champion, he's still building it more to stun the hell out of the enemy team and stay alive, which is more of a supportive playstyle.
Yeah, still feels like a very utility Syndra.
But hey, can't argue with results. Thus far, it's been working pretty well.
I mean, I understand it with, yeah, they're just fishing for stuns in this mid lane right now. Green does land the Trouble Bubble onto Sigtal Lord. Gets the shield up in time, but still taken down to about half health. That was the poke combo of Burn the Heretic as well. And the Heretic does get tagged by the Zap, but he's far enough away from that wall that J-Dog won't look for the onslaught of shadows at this time. We'll have another Drake coming up in 25 seconds. Would be third, and put him on soul point of your Northern Storm. So that seems like an important objective. And they do still have vision in the Baron pit right now, so they wouldn't have to worry about that being traded off. Scuttle Crab was taken by Gale Force, though, down by this Drake. So they will not have to worry too much. They will know exactly what Northern Storm is doing. And they're in the pit. So it looks like Northern Storm, they want to start this off right away. And there is a lot of damage. Brandanosaur might need to position. Yeah, he needs to orb walk his way down towards the bot side, though. Sladen is in the pit. So this could be another fight popping up. There goes J-Dog into the backline, and they just melt Sladen in the backline. Burn the Heretic, taken really, really low. He cannot survive J-Dog. There's the damage from this hacker. No, he does. Just barely. Nice peel actually coming out from Godzilla, but Shaken is still alive. It's a 3-for-1 right now. Green is all that's really left. Godzilla has had to run away, and this will be another Drake going over to the side of Northern Storm. And I think that really was that ease of execution that you were talking about during our spectator delay.
No, I agree 100%. The Zoe has been played very, very...
Lands a stun. Green has to flash away. That's not his real flash. Sorry, go ahead, though.
No, that's fine. The Zoe has been played almost immaculately, but she missed a couple paddle stars, and unfortunately, it was in that fight. And as a result, the ease of execution, like I said, if you can't land the skills when you need them the most, which was in that fight, which was completely chaotic, so it's understandable to miss those, then the ease of execution, Northern Storm Comp will just run you over.
Yeah, that felt like a, just a very, almost like a tutorial team fight from Northern Storm, where they had Brandanosaur safe in the backline. They had enough peel. Sladen just got melted trying to go in to threaten the steal and the backline. And then you had J-Dog and Shaken diving the backline of Gale Force. And even though Burn the Heretic survived the initial onslaught, there just wasn't enough tools to keep him alive. And yeah, it just felt like Northern Storm had easier objectives to execute there.
Yeah, I'm reluctant to call it textbook, but it kind of was. As far as the execution of it, it's just you keep your Jinx alive, you dive the back line, you keep some peel on the Ada carry, and then probably win the fight, and that's exactly what ended up happening. I think Northern Storm at this point now, like we mentioned earlier, they can just play around the objectives at this point. They can try to go for picks like they're kind of doing here, but they don't need to.
As long as they side, Trouble Bubble onto Sigtal Lord. And the Paddle Star, wow, those are really starting to hurt, though. Sigtal Lord's a tanky guy, but still taken down to about 40% health from that Paddle Star. Oh, they land one onto Shaken now as well. This is exactly the kind of situation that Gale Force want. They're just picking off from the side, but can they protect Shaken? In goes J-Dog onto Alpha, trying to take down that support early on. Godzilla is stunned up. That's his clone, though, so his clone is going to be just fine. J-Dog had to trade his life, I think, to just threaten the backline, try to zone that fight. Brandanosaur has a red buff. This could end up being a big reset. Oh, what a Trouble Bubble from the Zoe, but no one else is able to get in on the Brandanosaur. Man, it looked like that Jinx was in a lot of trouble there for a moment. Goonstomp is frontlining right now, lands a big stun, but not quite enough damage to finish off Sladen, or excuse me, Alpha. And right now, if you're Northern Storm, you're feeling okay, I think, only losing one there with J-Dog about to come back up because that looked like kind of the dream scenario for Gale Force there for a second.
Yeah, the Zoe is really what they need to worry about. As far as, like, as long as they don't get picked from a Zoe bubble. Like that, almost.
Yeah, Sigtal Lord actually walked over a trouble bubble that was there. Burn the Heretic, nice arcane shift to keep himself alive. Alpha's still pretty low, but feeling bold. Green lands another trouble bubble onto Brandanosaur, but just not able to go in for the finish. J-Dog is back, excuse me. And another really long extended engage ends up relatively inconsequentially. Goonstomp is at about 30% health though, so he'll have to be careful. Don't think anyone's in a position to threaten the Baron though, so could just get a free back here without having to worry about it.
There have been 40 kills in about less than 30 minutes. This is a bloody game.
Yeah.
We live for that. We love that.
Got 1.3 kills per minute about. Soul point right now for Northern Storm, and I think that picking up that Mountain Soul would be huge for them. It will be up in about 1:15, so you already see Shaken and J-Dog congregating around. They've gotten that Subtle Crab down on the bot side. They see Green in the top lane, so they're not too afraid. I think as long as you know where Green is, you know he's not going to catch you with a bubble. Actually, Shaken comes in, lands the Stretching Strike onto Alpha, and there's the Let's Bounce. Alpha has to flash away. I think that that's the right call. You don't want to be dropping right now with that Dragon on the table.
I'm glad to see that Shaken is just playing with the team. He's not trying to do any sort of split push shenanigans. Against a pick comp that the Gale Force squad seems to have here, you do not want to run the risk of doing the 4v5.
Godzilla could be in trouble here. Cyclone comes out. Brandanosaur hits the clone with the zap, so Godzilla will be able to walk away, was not slowed, and Shaken was taken down to about 30% health. So actually, oh, there's a speed up from Karma. They're looking for J-Dog. He has to pop his ghost. So nice move there from Alpha and the rest of the team. J-Dog able to get away from that Paddle Star, but the Trouble Bubble does land, and Onslaught of Shadows has to be used. So Ghost and Onslaught of Shadows down, Drake up in 9 seconds, and J-Dog is going to have to go back to base. So a really, really nice job by Green and Alpha there to make some space, create an opening for them to be able to get this Drake. Shaken taken down to about 60% health from one Paddle Star. That's all the damage coming out from this Zoe. These are onto tanky members. And Brandana, cheeky little start of the Drake right there. As Gale Force, I don't think they wanted to start it yet, and now the Dragon is angry.
They've stalled long enough for Jada to get back.
Oh, here comes Shaken. Goes in. I believe he has his passive, and a big stun comes through from Goonstomp. Green is on the backside, able to solo kill J-Dog. Everyone else in the mid lane, or excuse me, in the middle of the fight, they just can't get onto him. Brandanosaur is zoned out by Sladen, and this is the fight that Gale Force needed. Brandanosaur kiting away, not quite enough damage. Goonstomp will finish off Sladen, but that's all they get. Green still hunting, not going to find him. But this could be a Baron as well, potentially. The Drake resets.
Oh, that's awkward. They still got it, I
think. There's no teleports available for the side of Northern Storm. Oh! Goonstomp, I respect the attempt, but he trades his life.
Oh my gosh, that's a big shutdown.
And Green is just absolutely monstrous now. 11, 3, and 8. So much damage in that fight. And I wasn't able to watch the bottom half of that fight, actually. I was watching J-Dog get killed by Green and then the top half, but something, I think it was just Sladen, but was just keeping Brandanosaur from being involved.
So the issue that they ran into there, which they haven't had in other team fights, it was just a kind of a mix-up of the roles and priorities. Traditionally, Shaken's been starting the fight going in deep, J-Dog diving alongside as well to get to the back line, and then Sigtal Lord keeping Brandanosaur alive, peeling for him, and letting him just free fire. The issue there was, as we saw, J-Dog got absolutely annihilated by the Zoe. Shaken did the initiate as expected, then in order to keep that fight going at all, Sigtal Lord had to go into the engage mode, into combat, into aggressive mode, leaving poor Brandanosaur completely by himself.
And I also feel like the fact that you had Northern Storm's front line coming from different directions may have disjointed things a bit there.
That's true.
Because not that Hecarim can't flank. Hecarim is an excellent flank champion. But he was running right into his Zoe. Shaken had already gone in, so maybe there's a little bit of pressure there to come in from an angle that wasn't very safe. And when you have such a strong tank line and such a, very simple team fight objective of keep the Jinx alive, let the Jinx free fire, you don't really want to be fighting from multiple fronts, I think.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's also worth noting the Jinx doesn't have, well, now she does, but at the time of the fight did not have any armor penetration, so there's really no way to punch through a very large troll who's trying to beat you to death with a pillar of ice.
Trouble bubble from Green. Big paddle star, my goodness. J-Dog taken down to about, oh my gosh, Burn the Heretic gets him with the red buff burn. J-Dog standing on a ward in that pixel brush. Costs him his life, and now Baron priority goes over to Gale Force.
Yeah, that feels bad. I can't even really call that mispositioning. Perhaps at the very beginning it was a little too far up, but like at that point, once you get hit by that first Sleepy Trouble bubble, there's really no counterplay to that short of having all of your friends get in the way.
Surprised to see Northern Storm not contesting this. I think that they could. I mean, they don't have steal potential, obviously, but Green picks it up, and now can they win the fight? Godzilla taken pretty low. He flashes away. That's important because he doesn't give over that reset to Brandanosaur yet. Godzilla does eventually drop, and now Brandanosaur is excited. Burn the Heretic is unchecked, just firing away onto Brandanosaur. Eventually, they get him down. Burn the Heretic trades his life, but you will take that, absolutely. If you are Gale Force, and Sigtal Lord has to limp away. Godzilla's still alive as well, but Sigtal Lord is going to drop. Doesn't have enough mobility to get away from this team. And Gale Force, they are really turning things around now.
Yeah, the issue that they're running into is that these fights are all 4v5, because somebody gets picked off early on in the fight. It's thus far been mostly J-Dog, but he's not the only one guilty of it. And as a result, you're not going to win. Your team fight comp falls apart if you don't have a team to fight with.
Shaken, this is a pretty aggressive move here. Alpha is alone, but help could arrive very quickly. He's looking for another engage. He's put to sleep, and he'll waste his passive and give away his life. So pretty aggressive there. Not sure if it's tilt, but it kind of looks like it.
It's either tilt or miscommunication, or I'm not sure what the deal is, but if they want to win this game, they need to rein it in. It's still absolutely winnable. Soul point still on the table, of course. The gold is close. Well, relatively close. It's a winnable game if they just kind of circle the wagons and ward the hell out of everything. Because Zoe will absolutely continue to cause a nightmare for anybody who steps a little bit too far forward.
Yeah, Green has done a masterful job in the last 10 minutes or so of just finding chunks onto these tanks. He's not finding Brandanosaur or Goonstomp, which is what, you would generally expect him to be looking for. He doesn't need to. He has so much damage. He's so fed. He's so powerful that he's able to chunk these tanks down as if they were squishies and just basically win the fights before they start.
Now, if I'm Northern Storm, I actually might consider not going to even look at this. It's not Soul Point for Gale Force, and you're not in a position, at least at this point, to fight this.
Well, Sigtal Lord takes a little bit of damage. Oh, and the True Shot Barrage does catch along Brandanosaur on its way out, so some solid damage down onto that Jinx. They did have a little bit of a safe haven with that bottom Tri-Brush, as they knew that there wasn't vision in there yet. Now there was, but they just take it out. So that pink ward giving them at least sort of a safe approach path. But now we've seen Green in this exact position before, just using those long walls. Shaken. That's a tanky Zac, still taken down to half by one paddle star. He jumps in alone, has no passive, and so he will drop. A lot of damage comes out, but Brandanosaur just can't quite cut through Sladen yet. Even Hazlord Dominic's now. Nice True Shot Barrage from Burn the Heretic, catches across three. Godzilla into the back line. There's the Cyclone. Brandanosaur is gone. J-Dog into the back line, though. And J-Dog and Sigtal Lord, they are just trying to rescue this as best as they can. Can they get back onto the Drake? Looked like they had an idea about turning for it, but there's just not enough damage. Sigtal Lord drops. J-Dog drops. It's 5 for 1, and they have a wave in the mid lane. Actually, this could be the game for Gale Force.
TP. It probably is. If it's not the game, it's definitely going to be inhibs and probably Nexus turrets. This is going to be... They have a lot of time. Shaken will be up.
Shaken up in 10, but these towers are going to melt. They have 3 auto attack champions right now. They're just going to be beating these down. Green does plenty of damage to the turrets as well. Shaken up in 2, Brandana in 10. Yeah, I don't think there's any way that they survive this push. Shaken's gonna hop out, gonna try to disrupt as best he can, put to sleep,
Yeah.
burn the Heretics, just free autoing the Nexus, and a great comeback from Gale Force in a game that looked like it was in Northern Storm's control for a while.
Yeah, that was Northern Storm's game to lose. All they had to do was keep the wagon circled, and unfortunately, they uncircled. Let's take a look at some stats, what we can anyhow. In a shocking turn of events, Green did the most damage to champions.
Yeah, by a large margin as well. A little surprising actually to see Goonstomp having put out more damage than Brian Dinosaur there. I think that really goes to show just how that Jinx was not allowed to be comfortable for about the last 10 minutes of that game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Who would you like to pull for an interview? I know that we should not pull Sladen. He's having issues with his microphone.
Fair enough. We've already interviewed Godzilla. I think we got to go Green this time. That was a monstrous performance.
Fair enough. Sounds good.
All right, let's hop over.
Am I gonna shout out? Oh.
Oh, hey, sorry to surprise you there, Green. Congrats on the win. Oh, are we here?
Uh,
Yeah,
we're good.
All right, awesome. Well, yeah, that was a pretty crazy game. I gotta say, I was out of breath multiple times. Do you want to start us off, Greg, or do you want me to?
Sure. I have sort of a meme question, but I gotta ask this guy, this Zoe monster, um, why do you think opposing teams will not ban this Zoe against you?
I think for their particular team comp, if they did have a plan on who they're picking, Vex was a good ban because they have a lot of dashes,
Hmm.
or their main engage was a dash. And I'm guessing they didn't watch the first 2 weeks. I don't know, or they probably thought they want to spread out other players on the team, which is fine as well. That's probably it.
All right. Now, one thing I noticed throughout that game, especially once you guys seemed to take control of it, was that you were, obviously the dream is to find that Jinx. But you seemed very happy to just, take the free damage on the front line. Seemed like they were standing on wards a lot. How much credit do you give to, Alpha and the rest of your team there for making sure you had that vision for those picks?
Well, they are basically the facilitator. So, I mean, I'm just there to throw out stuff. If it hits, it hits. And the most important part is the vision. So, I mean, I think Alpha for that, for sure. And I don't think they realized how much damage I was doing to them. Because they kept coming into all the chokes.
Yeah, absolutely. Looked like even those tanks could not stand up to a single battle star. So definitely, congrats on the win. Well played. You guys currently are sitting at 3-1. So as of right now, at least, alone at the top of the standings. So well played, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, that was Green joining us after that masterful Zoe game. We see Gale Force take the first win of the night. We'll have more coming up after a short break. Phoenix against White Wolf. I'm Jeff. This is Gregosaurus. We're watching Overlord Prowler's round robin. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a couple minutes.